Were felt all over Imperial County and mainly in the city of Brawley. People I spoke to say they felt one this morning, and even though they're used to the occasional earthquake, this was different. 19 quakes in the past 24 hours, 281 in the past week.
And all of a sudden, I remember hearing a rumbling sound of a very, it sounded like it was going to be a big earthquake, but I didn't expect it to be that big.
Thomas Berry lives in Brawley, California. He says it happened quickly. He was walking his dog when the earthquake hit, leaving the city in the dark.
We got breaking news, huge earthquake, unknown of what pointage, but a huge earthquake here in Brawley. Whole power's out.
Barry tells me his home was covered with broken glass. He also sent us photos from local grocery stores, showing what happened to the shelves.
That is grown and that requires fertilizers, which is most of everything that we consume, is potentially affected across the world. The ripple effects are going to be quite significant.
Right now, people are not really seeing the full force of it. So people are just thinking about transportation, energy prices. But after a while, in a few months probably, the shortage of food will reveal to the world that there is a severe issue. There's a cascading situation that no one has seen and no one has tried to prevent.
A biblical disaster of tens of thousands of bees has swept across Israel, forcing residents indoors and leaving entire streets completely overrun. Israeli military aircraft are facing paralysis under the attack of swarming bees. This is being described as the largest bee swarm attack in history. And even more strangely, this may be only the beginning. The incident took place in the southern Israeli city of Netivot. According to local media, the sudden appearance of massive bee swarms in a commercial center caused clear panic among residents. Many shop owners were told to shut their doors and windows immediately, and people nearby were also warned not to approach the areas where the bees were gathering. These bees were not just flying by in small, scattered groups. They pushed into the commercial district on a massive scale, circling in thick clusters and densely covering streets, vehicles, and buildings. From a distance, the whole area looked as if it had been covered by a moving black cloud. Very quickly, two completely different views began spreading online. Some people believed this might simply be a rare but natural phenomenon, one that only seemed so frightening because of its massive scale and the unusual location. But others linked it to a biblical disaster and end-time signs, arguing that this was far from an ordinary bee swarm. Videos of the scene quickly spread across social media, triggering a wave of religious and conspiracy-driven interpretations.
This morning, an Illinois resident is at home awaiting test results from the CDC after experiencing mild symptoms of the hantavirus. It's believed they contracted the North American strain of the disease after coming in contact with rodent droppings while cleaning. There are only roughly 30 cases of the strain a year, and it is not passed from person to person like the Andes virus, which was found on that Dutch cruise ship, resulting in 3 deaths and leaving health officials across the world tracking passengers. Here in the U.S., officials currently monitoring 36 people, 18 across 10 states, who either returned home early from the cruise or traveled on a plane with a sick passenger. None are showing signs of illness. In addition to the 18 Americans who were evacuated from the cruise in Spain and went straight for evaluation. The symptomatic passenger in a biocontainment unit in Atlanta has tested negative for hantavirus, and all 16 in Omaha are symptom-free, including the only American to test positive for the virus who remains in the biocontainment unit.
I think we should not be surprised if there's additional cases. But now that we've identified all of these individuals, they've gone to their respective countries, and they're appropriately being monitored, we should expect cases to drop off after that.
Medical teams here are performing twice daily symptom and fever checks. So far, everyone is symptom-free. George?
Okay, Victor, thanks.
Of the U.S. draft coming back. So the U.S. military will automatically register eligible men for the selective service draft system a bit later this year. Previously, the onus was on the men to register themselves. So that's going to definitely impact families of young men. Think late teens, early 20s, and beyond. So if you're curious, what is the Selective Service System? It's the military draft, and it was established back in 1917 by President Woodrow Wilson after the U.S. entered World War I. So that puts some things into perspective for you as to where this stands. And if we're calling this back, it must mean this is some serious stuff to our government. Under federal law, most men between 18 and 25 are required to register with the Selective Service System in case Congress and the President authorize a military draft. So right now, though, they have to self-register within 30 days of their 18th birthday, but they're allowed to register late without penalty until they turn 26. So that's been the sort of workaround here, if you think about it that way. Failure to register is considered a crime that could disqualify you from student loans, most federal jobs, and U.S. citizenship for immigrants, Stars and Stripes reports. So when you think of the phrase draft dodger, it comes from this. Women are still exempt from registering, though. A new rule passed by Congress just last year will automatically register those eligible men in the system, which transfers responsibility for registration from individual men to SSS through integration of federal data sources. This is, again, all coming from the SSS website. So here's the big picture. Draft registration has declined in recent years. And don't just take my word from it. It's coming from the Military Times that monitors this especially closely. And they say that it's in part because federal student loan forms removed the option to register back in 2022. So if you're curious as to when the military draft will become automatic, here's a look at the timeline. According to the Selective Service System, it's hard to say, try it 10 times fast. Automatic registration will be in place by December of this year.